Hello, fabulous people. You've got Tamara and Shanae here, and just deal with it. And today we're excited to talk about where to meet men. Because apparently they're not living on our couch, are they, Tamara?
Nope, they're not on our couch. Well, mine is,
Yeah, well, okay, yours
but
is, but
but but
mine
before
isn't.
he got there, I had to find him. So,
So, I don't know what's been your experience. I mean, you have a committed relationship right now, and I'm dating, but I just kind of want to get like a little bit of an idea for you of where you found your guy.
well, for me, honestly, I didn't search too far. My my boyfriend and I were friends for 14 years before we decided to get together. Um, but prior to that, and during my whole dating experience, because I've been dating for quite a minute, I've used several platforms. Um, I'm gonna say I did the apps.
Ugh,
That was terrifying. Um,
I'm in that right now. So.
I've also done like through friends. A lot of my friends tried to hook me up or introduce because when you are friends with couples, they're always like, I have a friend. My friend has a friend. Oh my God, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
He's amazing. You just give him a chance to marry. Just give him a chance. Go on this date and you're gonna love him. You're gonna love him. You guys are gonna get married. I'm going to your wedding. I already know where I'm sitting.
That's like the
You're
typical
naming
line.
your child after me. That's what I'm getting every time I try to get hooked up. Um, Unfortunately, that never worked out. It was disaster after disaster, and of course, after the fact, it's always like, oh, I don't know him that well. Like they just recommended him. It's
And
somebody.
yet you were married with naming your child after them.
Right, they were naming the child, but they didn't know. But my favorite was weddings, where you would meet a lot of single. You get put like it depends on the friend and how close you are with this friend. They will either sit you at the singles table or the old people table. It's like one of the
Yes.
two. Or maybe the
Yes.
children's table. I've had that once too. That was very embarrassing. But
And how old were
yeah,
you?
because you're single, right? So like where are we gonna stick her? We're gonna stick her and her friends like that are single. Those girls, where are they gonna sit? The children. They're
That
gonna
is too funny.
entertain the children. Yeah, usually I would say the best place, honestly, it's always through either people or going to places like restaurants, bars, even clubs. I've met a couple of guys there in my early 20s. But, like, generally speaking, the most effective were usually like through people, through crowds of friends. It was never set up. It was more like, oh, do you know Tamara? Oh, do you know this guy? Haha. And then it would just flow. Unfortunately, we are in 2025 and
Mm.
the climate of dating has really flipped and
Don't
changed.
I know it?
So I'm going to let you talk about it right now, about what your experience is, because I mean, I could chime in because I've been dating my guy for, it's going to be 3 years in September. So I still remember,
Yeah, no,
what
for
it's like.
sure. For sure.
But go ahead. Let's
Oh
talk about where you
gosh. Uh. Well, unfortunately, my friends, it's the apps. I'm going to be 50 this year, and I am so happy for all of my friends. They seem to have really great relationships with their spouses. And then when I say to them, like if you know someone, just like you said, let me know. And they're like, oh God, but everyone I know is like married. I'm like, God, okay. So organically speaking, it's really hard to meet somebody. It's a friend of a friend. That's a really hard way to meet people now. I mean, I hope for people that they can still do that, but right now it's been the apps, and the apps can feel really overwhelming. There are a slew of them, right? Okay, so I'm on Bumble. I was on Hinge. I haven't done Tinder because I heard it was for sex, but apparently a friend of mine is dating. She put herself on Tinder, and
I've been on
apparently
Tinder.
you
I'll tell
what
you
was
about
it?
Tinder. Go on.
So you can hear that I'm sick, by the way. So sorry about that, but Um, so I don't know. Um, there was one called Our Time because like I'll be 50 this year, and it's for people like over 50.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to say anything negative, but no. I did match before when I first started. And I met a lot of people on Match, but it's kind of like the repetitive thing, that you just keep seeing the same people.
In all
Okay,
the apps.
I met my last boyfriend on eHarmony. And listen, can I tell you? So I'm going to give you like an idea of all the different apps and then other places, right? So then you have eHarmony. There's a lot of other ones, right? But these are the ones that like you really kind of know about.
Have you
Okay.
tried, before you go on, have you tried Coffee Meets Bagel? I've heard that
No.
there's a lot of success with that specific app. I think it's free, and I do believe that people that sign up for it are usually interested in actual relationships, opposed to just hooking up. So for next time, maybe you could do a little review of it.
Well, I'm kind of seeing someone now.
Oh,
but
okay,
but
okay,
but but we'll see because it's early on, so we'll
okay.
see. But okay, so I'm going to give you a run through.
Yeah.
For the love of God, people, do not go on eHarmony if you don't want an actual long-term relationship leading into marriage. Like that is what it's known for. Now, I met my ex-boyfriend on that one, and he claimed to have wanted this long-term relationship. And his avoidant personality,
Okay.
um, so the eHarmony, just if you're not ready for a long-term relationship, marriage, please don't go on there. Like I was saying, I'd like to go into attachment styles, right? Because you're literally like looking at someone's picture and seeing if you guys have things in common. So that's the other issue that I have with apps. It's like basically a job interview. So you look, you're like, oh, he's cute. I could kind of, whatever. Oh, we have similar interests. Great. And then you meet them in person. I don't know about you, but for me, it was like right before I meet the person, I'm like, oh, I hope they look like the person. I hope they look like the person. And I hope they're fun. And I hope. So with the eHarmony where I met my ex boyfriend, I don't doubt that at that time he wanted a relationship. But with his avoidant personality, he puts himself on eHarmony wanting long term marriage. And that did not happen. I mean, he didn't want that. So eHarmony people, that is for be serious if you really want a long-term marriage type thing. I'm not saying that the other ones don't have that, but you have also Match. It's kind of similar. Um, the thing I don't like about most of the apps is that you have to pay for them. So like if you want to see their picture or you want to see something that they wrote, you have to pay. And like again, eHarmony, I ended up paying like I think 160 or something of that sorts for 6 months. You can't even get a shorter like membership for that, which really sucks. So it's like a waste of money. So Bumble, that's where I've met actually quite a few guys. I feel like it's a classier one. Get a good mix of people. Um, they have a really great offer right now. It's like only paying $8.99 a week. So it's nice because you could be short term, long term. I think you get a really good amount of people on that. Um, Hinge, I have not been really happy with, and I
But
think
but
it's
but
expensive.
what does that look like, Hinge? From my understanding, it's like a different type of app. It's not necessarily just matching. It's like through somebody or some. What does Hinge look like? Is it
No,
different than the
Hinge.
other apps?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the thing with Bumble, this is a funny thing. Like, you really got to make sure you know if swipe left is no, swipe right is yes. And I'm saying that because my friend accidentally like went like no, and I'm like, I don't want that guy to like reach out. No. So you have to be careful with that. Hinge is more like an X or a check mark type thing. But no, I think they're pretty similar.
So here's my issue with apps. This is my number one issue with apps, what you're telling me right now. The swipe. The swipe. You will be speaking to somebody for days sometimes, right? And you might not give them your number yet, but like you're just communicating and something is said that maybe there's no agreement on or whatever. The person can just swipe or you go on a date. It's a good date, but there's always that like mentality that you could always swipe right on somebody else who's better. And it's
Yeah.
just like I think it's more of like a mental health thing at this point. Like I feel like um that whole mentality of what if I find better and not giving that person a chance, it's pretty brutal out there when it comes
It
to
is. You're
marketing.
right. Well, actually, to
So
your point, um, I was seeing a guy, um, really nice guy. It's just that the romantic chemistry wasn't there, and that's another thing, by the way. Meeting people on apps versus meeting someone in person. You go to a bar, you kind of like, oh, cute. I don't know, we're kind of vibing, right? A
yeah,
restaurant, party, friends. You get to have that organic, like, I could see this happening, right?
yeah,
I had to tell a guy yesterday, so sweet, and he was so good with dates and what have you, but attractive man, but there was just not that romantic chemistry there. And so, as you're stating, the mental health aspect of things, it's like, okay, does this person find me attractive or not? Great. We've matched. Great. Now we meet in person. And it's this constant like judgment period,
yeah,
which really sucks. Now, once you connect with someone, now you have to go like, does this connect or like romantically, Because I've met people that I'm friends with now.
yeah.
And I've heard that a lot, by the way, from patients. They're like, I met someone on a hinge and it didn't click, but we're friends. And they've been friends for years. So, I mean,
I
there's that
have a
possibility
friend
too.
I met on Tinder. I still have a friend. He's married very happily. I'm in a happy relationship and we still text. We still talk. We're good
Yeah.
friends. We've been friends
Yeah.
for years and it's not an issue because you develop a connection. Not all connections are created equal, you know?
Right.
So,
So back to your mental health aspect, it was hard. So the way that my last boyfriend, the way we ended things, I could see how he was kind of like dwindling off, right? Now, I would have rather him not have dragged it on. Um, because that sucks. You're living basically a fake relationship at that point, right? If someone's
yeah, of
kind of thinking, I'm gonna.
course.
So with this guy that I just wasn't feeling that romantic chemistry with. And I didn't want to send him a text. I wanted to do it in person, but he lives kind of far. And he was so kind to always stay in Manhattan like longer to
Hmm.
see me. I sent him a really nice text and I said, listen, um, I don't want to do, you're such a nice person. I wouldn't want to do to you what was just done to me. And so, when you're dating, that's another thing that I think is just so important. If you don't feel a connection with that person, give it a try. Because to your point, this mental health game. Do they like me? Do they not like me? This guy that I'm telling you about that I had to end things with, he was really sweet. He says, if it wasn't for the apps, I wouldn't have approached you at a bar or a restaurant. So
Mm,
that's the benefit of an app, right? The other thing I'm going to say about the app is that I have a patient that she said, no, I'm just going to let the guy choose me. And I said, wait, why? Why would you do that? Like you're losing your power there.
yeah,
She goes, I want him to chase me. And I said, okay, that's fine. I get that. I said, but you should be looking at the guys, choosing them. And if he chooses you as well, then it's a match. Okay.
right.
Then you get him to chase you. But
Right, but it's also like an old school dynamic, which is what we're talking about. She wants to be chased, she wants to be courted, she wants to be conquered. She doesn't want the organic match. She wants to be the one who says no, and she wants him to go, but yes. Right?
yeah,
That's the whole point because that's the feminine male dynamic in what relationships used to look like. That was the standard, right? The man courts the woman, he becomes interested,
organically meeting, yes.
right, organically meeting, correct. I'm gonna give you a very good example. My parents. My mom was out on a date with a man at a restaurant, how they met. They were
That's
dancing.
awesome.
My father came in with his friends, saw my mom, did not care for the dude she was with, came up to her, asked her to dance. She never
Oh
came
my
back to
God.
the table, and then they just left together. Like
Oh
that
my
was
God.
how they
That's
met.
so awesome.
Right, but that's an alpha male coming in. Now your patient, right? What your patient really wants is an alpha male
Yeah.
to come and show her his dominance, and that's attractive for her. She wants him to chase her, meaning she wants him to dominate all of the situation, all of the initiation of the relationship. That's going to make her feel feminine. That's going to make her feel wanted. That these are things that need to be worked through, because why does she need that confirmation? Why does she need that validation?
Yes.
Right? But from a partner, that's what she needs. That's the kind of confirmation she needs for her to be comfortable in a relationship. So, but again, that's old school thinking. That's not 2025 thinking.
I mean, I agree and disagree with you. You're right that it's old school thinking, but if we look at
Of
men in general, they still want the chase. It is
course.
like in their genes to be able to think about it. When you get comfortable in a relationship, the man stops trying so hard.
Right,
You know,
but we're going to talk about also what men look like right now, what the definition of masculinity is now compared to what it was before. Because before, literally that, and acting this way was
yeah,
masculine.
yeah.
Right now, you have to ask for permission.
Oh my God, that's so true.
You know what I'm saying? So, in that dynamic, I don't see how a male who's who's woke, growing up in, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Woke. I haven't heard that in
right,
so
who
long.
is woke? Let's say, right, growing up in today's dynamic is going to court a woman this way. I don't see that.
I don't know. I mean, okay, so
Depending
the
on age.
guy,
Also depending on age. I'm talking
that
about men
is
in
true.
their
Okay,
20s versus men in their 40s, 50s, and whatnot.
100%. I agree. I agree with that.
Right. So, like, as of right now, what is your best experience as far as just dating and meeting men? Where do you think is the best place for somebody in their 40s, in their 50s, going out and to meet a man?
So I have friends in their 30s. I'm in my 40s. Um, I would say, unfortunately, apps.
Hmm.
But the interesting thing is go to events, like networking events, go to like different, like it's something that you're interested in, right? So I would say, that app Meetup, there's like different things you can do with Meetup. It's find something that you're interested in. I don't know, poetry, museums, whatever it is, and become part of those groups. Because these are people that have a similar interest as you. You connect with people, you talk to people outside of your social circles.
Yeah.
Um, I think those are the best places. Bars are great, but again, if we go back to if you have an attractive woman, to your point, men are now a little bit less, at least younger men, maybe even older. I mean, this is the other thing. When you go to bars, this is my issue. How do I know if I go up to a guy that that man is not married? Not all men wear rings, right? Now, for me, I'm a bit older, so it is more likely that someone will be with someone, right? So, and men, I don't see really men coming up. The men that I see coming up to me and to other women are not the most attractive men, which I find really interesting. Attractive men kind of like, stay back, do their thing, maybe give a look, but they're not the ones coming up to you for the most part, from my experience.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's the ones that aren't as like you wouldn't be attracted to them and they just come up to you like, hey, and I'm like,
Well, I'm gonna say this from what how I view this is that the unattractive ones don't have much to lose. They already know they're going to probably get rejected, but you might as well, like I always say, even a broken clock ticks correctly twice a day, right?
yeah.
So, somewhere out there, somebody responds positively to them.
Yeah.
That's
I
how I
give
look.
I give them credit. I give them total credit for that.
Absolutely. It's like dating apps too. Like, you will get dick pics for no reason, unsolicited dick pics. Clearly,
I'm assuming you've gotten dick pics because
oh
I
my
have.
God. Janae, I have a collection, okay? I have a collection in my old phone with all the messages. Oh my God. Every other guy
Can you
on
tell which guy is
Tinder,
what
on Bumble,
who?
everywhere. JD. They don't discriminate. And the thing is,
Well, at least with
they're not
J-date, you
lookers.
know they're circumcised.
No,
That's
a
a good
lot of
one.
them are not exactly, but a lot of them are not lookers. So clearly, if they're doing this systematically, because I'm not the only one, I can't possibly be the only one they're sending this thing to, right? So you know, I'm thinking it works with someone. It works.
I mean,
Somebody
yeah,
jumps on it.
sure.
Someone says, "Hey,
Literally,
baby, come
Tamara?
over. Let me live that pickle in real life." You know, what I used to do is I would get like very insulted, but that because that's kind of like phone rape. Like they're forcing their organ into your face. So what I would do, as you know me, I have wit.
A little bit, a little
I
bit.
need to announce that for some reason, but whatever. Um, what I would do is I would just go on Google and I would Google big black dick. And I would take a photo and send it back and say, "Oh, we're showing each other our organs. This is mine." I wouldn't get responses after that, but you know what? Like, it would shut them down. I was hoping this was going to work for them to know that maybe this is inappropriate.
Yeah,
There's no reason of continuing a conversation after something like that,
yeah.
but sending them
I
something
mean,
in
unless
return,
you
I just
want
felt like
that.
I needed to. Huh? I'm
Unless
sorry.
you want that, but,
Right,
um,
right, unless you want that. But we're talking about where to meet men to date them.
yeah.
This is not this is not setting the stage for dating. This is setting the stage for fucking. That's
Well,
about
I
it.
think you know what they want at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
listen,
exactly.
yeah, I think really nice guys, when we talk about mental health and rejection and all that other stuff, I don't think we give guys enough credit to know that, they're afraid of being rejected as well. And so this is where I think it's important for the woman to like at least make the first approach. I like to be chased, so don't get me wrong. I'm like my patient. I want to be chased.
Mhm.
But you've got to make that initiative to be like, hey, it's okay to like, talk to me. And then see if that proceeds forward. You were talking about the swipe left and swipe right and blah 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 blah. When you've decided it doesn't work with someone, you just unmatch, by the way.
Right, right. No, I understand, but as far as just continuing to swipe as you are pretending to work things out with the person that you've swiped right with, let's say you're talking to them,
Yeah.
uh, a lot of people continue to swipe and continue to explore. They don't pause at one option. And that's
Yeah.
where that
Yeah.
disconnect starts, right?
Yeah.
So like let's say you're enjoying somebody's company and they're clearly enjoying your company because they're texting you, they're calling you, they're giving you all the signs that they're interested,
Yeah.
right? And then all of a sudden you didn't even meet yet, by the way. Like you're setting up a date, you're thinking you're gonna meet like this happened to me several times actually. I would start like talking to somebody, we would start setting up a date or whatnot. Like, let's say we start talking on Monday, we were planning for like Saturday or Sunday or Friday coffee or something like that. By the time Thursday comes, this person is MIA. Like,
Yeah.
by the time Friday comes, they don't even answer whether they're what time we're meeting up. Right. So that tells me one thing. They've been swiping the whole time, even though we had like deep conversations, discussed like what you want. Like, I don't understand what is the purpose of asking very personal questions before you actually vibe with somebody, before you meet them in person and go, okay, because like over the phone, I feel like when you're starting on an app, you got to go meet right away. 3 days
I
tops.
do that. I do
Go
that.
go meet right away because then it becomes stagnant. Then you get attached and
Wait, how
then you're
quickly do
like,
you get attached?
I'm sorry?
How quickly would you get attached?
I wouldn't get attached in 3 days, but I would get attached. Like if let's say I would be talking to somebody for a month.
Yeah.
Let's say somebody's like, I had one where I remember this. I was talking to this guy. He was going on a business trip. We weren't able to meet, so he was on a business trip for 2 more weeks.
Was he
We were
actually on a business trip?
I don't know. I how would I know, right? Um then I found out this man was married with children later on. But
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Like he continuously spoke to me. We talked, we video called, we did all these things. All we had to do was meet, literally, to go get dinner and just hang out.
Why does someone do that? Like, are they that desperate for attention that they just have to, like, sit there and talk to someone and waste their time?
I think it's more of a validation that they can.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
It is disgusting, but this is unfortunately the institution of marriage is different now. Like the understanding of what that means, the respect you have for your partner, it's very different than it was before. And then there's these conversations around open marriages and all this other stuff. Oh, I'm in an open relationship, like we can date other people, we could, which is completely, that's fine, it's not my thing, but if it's your
No.
thing, great. But like, I'd like to know before we talk for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah,
I'd like to know on day one when we just start having a conversation going, hey, blah 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 blah, by the way, this is my situation.
yeah.
If you're still interested, I'd like to pursue talking to you. I'd like to meet you later. I think you are X, Y, and Z and whatnot. So that whole part. It's so easy to do that on these apps though. It's so easy to get that
That's what I'm
validation.
saying, that's what I'm saying. It's,
And the
yeah.
scariest part is that everyone has access to it. Everyone. You could be in jail. You could be in jail for murdering somebody, right? And you could have internet access.
Yeah.
I, Believe it or not, I've had conversations with people from there, not knowing where they were coming from. And then when it came to meeting, by the way, babe, I'll be out in 2 years. Are you going to wait for me? What the fuck? What the fuck? But anyway,
Seriously, I cannot, you know what? One episode, we're gonna have to talk about all the different experiences you've had.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It'll be
But you
so
know
much
what?
fun.
As we're speaking about meeting, like I can relate. There's a lot of stuff that happened, clearly to all of us. But it's just, it becomes so aggravating for so many women
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
because
think men too. I think I never want to, like, listen, this guy that I had to tell yesterday is not going to work out. He handled it beautifully. He was a gentleman about it. And actually, maybe this is something we should discuss. So we've talked about the dating apps, different ones to
mhm,
go on to, right? We
yeah.
talked about bars, restaurants, but I think the best ones, like I said, networking events. I've had a lot of friends that I've met at networking events.
Mhm,
So that, um, unfortunately, I do think apps, but I think you have to be really careful with, like you said, meet the first 2, 3, 4 days. And if that person's not willing to meet within that time, I don't know, I'd say next.
mhm,
Be honest and upfront. I mean, I always say, to your point, give it a few tries, see if there is a connection, because the first time they could be nervous. The second time they could, like, try to, like, present themselves a little more. I mean, the guy that I let go yesterday, he says, "Yeah, I know I was a bit rusty." I'm like, "No, no, no, you did everything right. It's just that romantic connection wasn't there." The other thing I'm going to say is that really figure out if the man is, or the woman is, are they separated or actually divorced? That's
So
another
so that's the next question.
that's another episode.
And that's the next episode too, but like here's the question here. How are you supposed to figure it out? Like if you do research on this person, like background checks, you're psycho. If you ask them and they tell you no, like I am separated, I'm completely single, you just supposed to just believe them.
I
And then
know.
you find, there's just so many little nooks and crannies with this
I know.
where there's so many layers. Everybody's an onion. You just peel and peel
Yeah.
away, and then you really realize what's really going on. Like maybe this guy's not even over his ex. Maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what happened to me with the ex-boyfriend. Like, I actually asked my ex, I'm like, "Are you guys getting back together?" Because I'm telling you, he like he just did everything for her. She said jump. He goes, how high? To do this for me? Okay. And I'm like, "But I thought you were with me."
Yeah.
So that's another thing to, like, we should probably do an episode on red flags. That's what I'm writing a book about, right? You know,
Okay.
what are the things you should look out for? What As you're dating on the apps, going out, starting the first process, what should you be looking for? Because you're right, there are so many red flags to dating. Oh, the other thing I'm going to state that we should probably state, since online really is the thing to do. I have had multiple guys say to me, I love the fact that your pictures are real. They're just you, no weird background, just, showing the kind of life that you
No
have.
wings, no AI.
No
Yeah.
AIs, no fake backgrounds. So that's something I really recommend. That's something that I've heard from men a lot, actually. So if I'm hearing it from random men that don't even know each other, I think it's
Mhm.
really important that on your
To be yourself.
sure, be yourself. You know, I actually put on my profile, if you're looking for a one night stand or looking for sex, I'm not your gal. Like, put that out there. If you are just looking for sex, great, put that out there. But really be raw and honest. That is also some feedback that I've gotten on dates where they're like, you're exactly what you wrote and you look the way you look. I mean,
Yep.
put actual pictures of yourself and not like, you're in one country to the next to the next. If you love to travel, that's great, but show who you are in real life.
Oh, those are great. Like all the men have a picture. There's so many, like they're always saying every guy has a picture with a little tiger and like all these other things. Like you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
there's that standard types of pictures and the bathroom pictures, for goodness sake.
Oh, and can you please do the
Guys,
gym pictures? Why?
oh my god, please stop.
And the
Please
pictures with your
stop
shirt
with the
off?
gym
Why?
bathroom.
Why?
Please, with the bathroom, with the towel. Stop it.
Okay, so
Stop.
bathroom, gym pics, pictures of you in a pool, pictures without any clothes on. Oh my god, pictures of guys with their pillows and they're laying in their bed like this, and I'm like, why? So no, these are automatic swipe lefts, by the way, for me.
Oh my god, same. Disgusting.
Yeah,
Why? Why do I need to see this?
we don't.
Like,
We
do
don't.
you actually think it's attractive? Like, you know what I mean? If you're a male and you're going on these apps, my recommendation is find a female friend and ask her if this looks nice, if this is appropriate.
Yeah,
She'll tell you.
yeah,
Find your sister. I don't care. Somebody
yeah.
who is a female could give you an opinion from the side to tell you. Even Grinder, find a female. She's gonna tell you if it's appropriate for Grinder. However, if you're on Grinder, you probably know. Yeah, they have taste. So you know,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the gay
I
app.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
So I think actually, yeah, ask your gay friend. They will style you and they will tell you how
Yes.
to look in your freaking dating pictures. It's
Now, the
just
one thing I would say probably not do again because I had this experience with my ex. I'm just telling the red flags with the ex. I'm telling you. I don't know that I would ask a female coworker because you don't know if she has a crush on you.
I think it depends on who the coworker is. If it's what that was from your
My experience.
interpretation of it, of how their relationship, I wouldn't ask because it would lead to more flirting
But
instead
see,
of
men don't see that.
they
Men
don't
look at the
filter. They don't filter
they
like
see. I from the very beginning. I mean, she had sent. They were apparently both in a state. I'm not going to say what. Happened to be in the same state,
okay.
and she and her husband were there, and they ended up getting together with my boyfriend at the time. He sends me a picture. Why is she so much closer to my ex-boyfriend than to her husband? Right? There's like certain little things you can see. But the point is that
Okay,
he
well, Danae, it's honestly, it's maybe it's inappropriate because you see it as a woman, right? Because as a woman, you
but
see this.
men don't see that. That's my point.
But she's fantasizing about maybe what it would be like if he was that.
Totally.
And
Every
he's doing the
picture
same. They're both doing the same thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, every picture that I would see though, it was like that. And I'm like, how does someone not see that? Guys, you guys don't see this stuff. But that's what I'm saying in this case. I mean, she decided our first breakup, where we should do the breakup. She told him. And I'm like, so this is something that for me maybe is just scarred from it. But I knew that there was something up there. Women, listen to your intuition. I'm like, I'm going to totally put that out there. If your gut says something, whether it's, on the first date, it's you see something on the dating app that you don't like, you meet someone in person. Um, if you feel something, walk, just go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like we said in our previous episode, your gut tells you everything.
Your gut
Everything
tells you oh, but
from
this is the other thing, and I read this really great article, and it was,
uh
I don't know if you've seen the app Medium. There's such great stories on there. It's, like, written by different people. Great advice. But it was talking about how, when we're looking for signs.
you could send me all this so we could include it in the description of this episode.
Yeah, for
All of
sure.
okay.
So when we ask for signs. Oh, I really want this to work out. Give me a sign, God. Give me a sign, universe, whatever, whatever. And you're not getting the signs you want. You're actually getting signs. They're just not
Yeah.
the ones you want. So these red flags that you're seeing, those are your signs. So I know that when we want something to work out, you go on a date with a guy and you're like, oh my God, I really like him. He's so cute. And, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. Give it another try. Maybe it was nervous, whatever, whatever. But I say after 3 dates, if you're just not feeling the romanticism, you're feeling something's off, just walk.
Yeah.
If it's meant to be, it's going to be. And he will chase you.
Yeah.
And he will show you the person that he is. But communicate that also, right? So on dates, this is the other thing. Be upfront, ask questions, be honest. And if he's afraid to ask any questions or you kind of see like it's a little off, you can tell. Just be
Yeah.
like swipe left, unmatched, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. But you know what? I still want to kind of focus back on where to meet these people we have to do all these things with, right? um I think a great place would be right now in today's world, a supermarket, Trader Joe's. For example,
What?
Trader Joe's. You know how many single men come in there after the gym trying to grab a snack?
Okay, but how do you know if they're not married? So that's like my fear. Like I don't want to impose on someone else's man.
Well, you have to take it every time you are meeting somebody, whether it's online in a bar.
That's true.
You're taking
That's
a
true.
chance. You just and after that, Shanae, we're gonna go back to your gut statement. You follow your gut. If
Yeah.
you feel like this man is lying to you, you're gonna feel it, especially after our experiences, right? Like I honestly, before I started dating my boyfriend, I could spot this shit 5 miles away. Okay, at that point. I was like, no, 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 you're married. And he's like, okay, a little married. No, 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 there's
A little
no such
married.
thing as being a little married. It's either you're
You're,
married or you're not married.
and with
And if
4 kids,
that's
right?
the case, then I'll find your wife and I'm gonna send her our chats. How about that? And I never heard from him again. He unmatched me. I wonder why. Poor thing.
What?
But um
Okay, but you know what? Something else that I thought about. Now, I haven't met anyone, but like Orange Theory or Pilates classes, Soul Cycle, like those kind of places.
yeah,
That's a good place also to meet people.
absolutely. And also, that's a good place to build community, to meet other people that they might know.
Yeah.
Because if we're just branching out along amongst our married friends, it's only going to go to a certain level. Like
Yeah.
it stops at a certain spot, right? But if you are in communities, if you're in a community at the gym, if you are like
Oh, church.
like
Churches too.
church or any place of
Synagogues,
work
any
or
religion. Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Right. Like if you are part of these communities, you have more chances of actually meeting somebody that has similar interests as you,
Yeah.
that's of a similar background. Because, I mean, it's nice to mix things up, but most people, I'm going to say like a lot of people are looking for somebody who's into the same stuff as they are, right?
Yeah.
So, especially after a certain age, maybe when you're younger, you want to
Have
branch
fun.
out. But like
Yeah.
by 45, I'm gonna say probably not,
Yeah.
right? Um,
So you bring up a good point because if we're looking at the age range, where to meet people,
yeah,
I say when you're younger, 20s, 30s, I think bars, clubs. I have two friends who met their husbands at clubs, by the way.
okay,
So I know they say you're not supposed to marry them, but they're in very happy marriages. But I think if you're younger, apps, bars, clubs. New York is a great place because there's all these social events that you could just do,
yeah,
all of that. If you're older, apps. And from my experience as a 40 something year old, I've really liked Bumble a lot. eHarmony, listen, I want something serious, but you might run into people like we talked about where they're separated, not divorced. You have a slew of stuff there. I'm not too happy with the harmony. Match I've had success too, but you have to think about the pricing of all these things. I think Bumble has the most reasonable um, pricing, to be fair, because 8.99 a week, and then you meet someone, you cancel that subscription. You're done. You're not stuck in this like subscription for like 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say my number one app is Bumble. Um, I think going to your place of worship, if you have a place of worship, that's a great place. Do the church retreats and all that other stuff. Um, I would also say, I mean, I kind of like your supermarket idea. I don't know that I would totally do that, but Whole Foods, that would be great. Networking
You never
events though.
know. Bookstore, museum,
Yeah.
library. Like,
Museum events, right? So I say these are the places because you're already there for yourself.
mhm.
You're going to meet someone. So all of these events, I would say if you're New York City, like big cities, again, the apps is going to be the quickest and easiest. But I think networking events is going to be your second thing. And
Yep.
networking, whether it's for business or a museum, churches, I think when you're older, that's going to be your safer bet. Younger, go have fun, do a lot of other stuff. Oh, cooking classes. That's another fun one.
Love that. Yeah.
One that I've also heard is running clubs. If you like to run, I think we have like the New York Road Runners and stuff like that. They actually have, my friend just told me, and this is more for your 20s, 30s, by the way. My guy friends in their 30s have met, there's like a singles running club. And
Okay.
so there's that as well. So again, I think we have to look at 20s, 30s, you've got one set of things. Upper 30s, 40s, early 40s, 50s, 60s, you have another set of things. And I think that's where you're going to find your success.
I agree. I agree.
So
And
I don't know. I think we've covered a good amount here of where people can go. But in my opinion, swipe left, swipe right. But if you swipe right, to your point, meet sooner rather than later.
yeah.
Number two, if after 2 to 3 dates you're just really not feeling something, with this guy, I went out I think 4 or 5 times, and really because he's so nice, I was really hoping to find something. But now that I've met somebody else, I'm going to decide to give that a chance. Also, you don't want
Oh,
to put too many on your plate.
and three, also have a good friend that's aware of where you're going.
Yes.
Have her on speed dial or him or whatever, and make sure they're aware of what's going on, and have a safe text just in case, like a safety
That's a
text.
really good point because my best friend is always looking to see where I'm at. And I love that.
Exactly.
So that's a really important point to make.
Always stay safe.
The other thing that I think I'd like to conclude with, if you're good concluding, is
Yeah.
something that you said, the mental health aspect. I think it's so important that we bring this in.
Yep.
You're going to be swiping right, you're going to be swiping left. People are going to match, people aren't going to match. And it's not something personal. Remember, if you're meeting someone online, this is just an interview process and they don't know who you are. They actually don't know who you are. So if they unmatch you, if they don't swipe, they don't, whatever it may be, don't take it personally. I mean, they don't know who you are. And
Ex-
if you do have to unmatch with someone, do it with kindness. Do it as soon as possible. If you really feel like there's not that connection, do it because you deserve to find your right match. But these are the things that I would say is important to do when dating.
I agree. I agree 100%. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for just dealing with it with us. And we'll see you next week.